A weird April storm system is coming, led by this dip in the jet stream called a trough. Impactful conditions will spread over the central into the eastern U.S. to finish the week and enter the weekend as the storm and reinforcing cooldown will move in. On the flip side, things look warmer next week as a different weather pattern will lead to those conditions across the USA. Temperatures will go up to 15 degrees above average for millions. This video has all those details right ahead. Without further ado, I want to start this video by overviewing what will be happening with the jet stream 15 to 20,000 feet on up into the sky as we head through the next several days. Let's start with the near term as we push things out of our Wednesday evening when I'm recording this video and into our Thursday, April 10th of 2025. You can see the beginning stages of that trough that's eventually going to lead to the cooler air once we get the associated storm system to move through parts of the central and eastern U.S. While we will be dealing with warmer than average temperature conditions to finish this week out west as the jet stream gets pushed way north in a ridging setup, there comes the beginning of your trough, and the strongest piece of that energy will be already sliding down out of places like South Dakota, Nebraska, and down towards the south central U.S. Anywhere around and back behind that piece of energy is where we're likely going to begin to see that cool down filtering in, behind some messiness in the way of rain and storms that we will see from the Mississippi Valley over to the East Coast from Thursday to Friday into Saturday. Here you go. You can see by the time we get to the midpoint of the weekend, we will likely be seeing the majority of that U-shaped trough dipping offshore in the eastern U.S., where between the left side of the U and the right side of the U will likely continue to see around to below average temperatures, but that won't last very long, and I'll talk about this more towards the end of the video, but here's a sneak peek. You can see by the time we go towards around Sunday, getting towards Monday, we will begin to see the jet stream flatten out a little bit, if not turn more towards a ridge or the backwards U like we were seeing in the west around Thursday. That will be shifting towards the central and eastern U.S. by the time we get towards around Sunday, leading to a general resurgence of near to above average temperatures filling in from the south to the north, and eventually we could even see a storm or two tap into that, and again, I'll talk about that a little later in the video. Now let's go ahead and use the high resolution future radar with the European model to time out the impacts from that storm set to move in on the leading edge of our trough in the eastern U.S. through the next few days, starting as we go out of our Wednesday evening when I'm recording this and into our Thursday, April 10th. As we go deeper through the day on Thursday, that is when especially some of our thunderstorm impacts will begin to kick up, anywhere from around Missouri and eastern Arkansas all the way on over to the central Appalachians, mid-Atlantic, and points in between. That does include the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. You need to be on alert for these storms that will especially pop up in scattered to near widespread fashion as we go deeper through the day. They will not be for everyone at every given moment, but as they move through, they could pack a punch with some thunder and lightning, even the possibility of some gusty winds and small to medium-sized hail. There will be an isolated severe weather threat, and I'll talk more on that here in just a minute. That is for, again, Thursday and Thursday night. We'll continue to watch some showers over parts of the southeast U.S., and then eventually more showers and storms firing back up through the day on Friday in higher fashion as you get closer to the mid-Atlantic shores, with the leading edge of that trough and the associated low-pressure system spinning around North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Those will be some of the zones we'll have to watch for a better chance of some heavier showers and thunderstorms in at least scattered, if not widespread fashion later on Friday. The system won't even in there as we go overnight, Friday night heading into our Saturday morning, with the leading edge of that trough still expected to be just near the East Coast. We'll still be watching some of that precipitation ongoing here into the northeastern U.S. We could even start with a little bit of snow there in southern New England as we kick off the day on Saturday. Generally, anything we do see through the daylight hours will be with warm enough temperatures that it falls mostly as rain or some very light freezing rain. That could at least cause some problems as you go on up in elevation. Generally, though, by the time we go out of Saturday into Sunday, as our cooldown continues over some parts of especially the eastern states that border the Atlantic coast, we will be watching most zones likely drying out, with the exception of some immediate coastal zones there in southern New England with that low pressure still being pesky and hanging off just offshore. As promised earlier, here's a look at the custom ONW severe scale that I make right here on my channel, a level 0 to level 7 scale that for our April 10th and April 10th night time frame, so Thursday and Thursday night, is as high as a level 3 of 7. Widely scattered damaging wind gusts, isolated large hail, as well as weak spin-up tornadoes appear possible anywhere from eastern Missouri and eastern Arkansas, as well as northeastern Louisiana to the southern Appalachians, as well as all points in between. Many of these zones recently impacted by severe weather, by flooding. We don't want to see any more, but some of the storms that do fire up, especially deeper through the day Thursday, could bring those threats as we see just enough instability as well as moisture lifting northward, so be on the lookout in those zones, and you'll at least have to keep an eye out towards places like the North Carolina and Delmarva shores as we go towards Friday for some severe weather there as well. With that being said, let's go ahead and give you a look at the trough and the associated cooldown and how temperatures will kind of stay down. This late week setup will just lead to temperatures staying put and not really being able to rise till deeper into the weekend over some parts of the eastern U.S. Here's a look at the forecasted highs for Thursday. You can see 60s and 70s all the way up into the Ohio and Tennessee valleys will be allowing for that at least isolated severe weather threat that I was just talking about. Overall, though, we've got a lot of 40s the further north and east you go through the eastern half of the U.S. Meanwhile, back in the southwest U.S. with all that ridging going on, we are going to be baking all the way from parts of southern California and southwestern Arizona up to Idaho, in especially the valley regions. 70s, 80s, and the further south you go, 90s to near triple-digit numbers will be leading to record high values being expected. This is unusual warmth for this time of the year, and some of that warmth will only continue to slide east by the time we go into Friday with a lot of 70s and 80s even into the high plains. But look at what will be going on in the east. There's your dip in the jet stream. Around and north of this line that I just drew is where it is going to be a struggle to get past around 55 to 60 degrees through the day after starting even cooler, and we'll be looking at some spots only staying in the 40s up there. After a very cool week in Michigan, you will still be in the 40s for highs in a place like Detroit and in the metro area, maybe getting closer to 50 in a few spots deeper through the day. Out of Friday into Saturday, still cool for some parts of the northeastern U.S. in particular, where it could be even cooler than Friday through some parts of central PA, central New York, up there into Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, and points in between. Low to mid 40s looking like the call in those zones. Meanwhile, back to the west, we continue to see some of this warmth sliding to the east, and again, that will be a topic more for a future video, but let's go ahead and start now by overviewing the pattern that I'm expecting by the time we go towards the end of the weekend and into next week in a little bit more detail. On your screen now is some blended guidance that is going to give us a good look with visuals in terms of colors as to how the jet stream is going to be playing out as we go towards next week. Blues indicate where troughs are expected, oranges and reds indicate where those ridges with the warmer than average temperatures are anticipated, and you can see the ridge with warmer than average temperatures, as I was indicating earlier in this video, will likely move out of the western and central parts of the country out of the weekend, and by the time we get towards Monday, we will be looking at a pretty nice field of warmer than average temperature conditions as the jet stream gets pushed north, at least briefly, from Texas and parts of the south central plains all the way up towards the Atlantic coast of the U.S. 5, 10, 15 degree above average temperatures can be expected out of Sunday into Monday in a lot of these zones, but not so fast. You see that little area of blue coming out of parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota, Wisconsin, into Michigan. That's a little trough. On the contrast zone between that ridge and trough, we could see the north central U.S. get active with some showers and storms possible out of Sunday into Monday. And then from there, I don't think we will be done just yet. We'll likely see that trough have the tendency to continue pushing to the southeast as we go deeper through next week. And as that occurs, we could see yet another cool down as a result of some quick showers and storms moving through some parts of the Mississippi Valley over to the East Coast. That would be maybe sometime around out of Monday into especially Tuesday and Wednesday. Something we'll certainly have to keep an eye on, as it looks like some swings will continue to be in the pattern as we go deeper through April. I'll keep you updated on all of those right here on the channel. With that being said, that is all I have for today's weather update, other than reminding you to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss future forecast videos and live streams delivered in a no-hype approach right here on the channel. I've always had a passion for weather, and as that continues to build, I would love it if you'd follow this channel. I always make custom severe weather forecast graphics. Sometimes I've even called some of the zones that the Storm Prediction Center end up upgrading for severe weather risks. So if you want that advance warning, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button down below. Thanks for watching this and listening to these reminders here at the end. God bless everyone.